Kicking off with the weekend vibes. Let's talk, we go live. Bobby fans and fish tank Hank. Miami Dolphins, we got your back. Saturday noon is the place to be. Catching Dolphins, talking fantasy. From the field to the fan debate. Fins talk today, don't be late. Fins up, we ride until the end. With Bobby and Hank, they're your best friends. Podcast popping every week, no delay. Join the crew, Fins talk today. Live chat and stats so prime. Miami hustle all the time. News and views will pave the way. Dive on in, it's Fins talk today. Top plays and what went wrong. Breaking down each game so strong. Fans united, feel the beat. Fins talk, Taylor can't be beat. Fins up, we ride until the end. With Bobby and Hank, they're your best friends. Podcast popping every week, no delay. Join the crew, Fins talk today. Fins up, we ride until the end. With Bobby
And Hank there. Hello, good morning, good afternoon to all the Dolphin fans tuning in. Welcome to another edition of Fins Talk today on FTSN. I'm Bobby Fins Talk, joined always by the one and only Fish Tank Hank. Fish Tank on mute. Good day, Fish Tank. How are you, my man?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, sir. You know, I went out with my wife last night. We had some big news. I didn't discuss with Bobby yet. But Bobby, my wife started a job about a week ago. And she said, okay, you've had a week of my service. Now I want to be paid more. So my wife got paid an extra $5 an hour raise.
Oh, congratulations to Miss Kelly. There you go.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool. So here's the good part. I take her out partying, right?
Yeah.
And I pull up at this place. I think it's called Cagney's. So I pull up and all these motorcycles are there. And of course, I'm in my car, which doesn't mix with the motorcycles, right?
No.
Not at all. And it turns out it's a biker bar.
Oh, fun.
So Kelly and I walk in there and we're all dressed in bright Dolphins gear. And we walk in and sit at the middle of the bar where we could see the stage. And everybody's looking at us like, who the hell are these people? Everybody's wearing black except us.
There you go.
So I'm sitting there, you know, and I was like, and we talked to a guy outside before we walked in. You know, he came over and introduced himself.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, the music in there really sucks. I was like, wow. You know, because I look and I'm like, they got a live band. It can't be that bad. You know, I'm thinking.
Sure.
Go in, I sit down. Kelly is a huge, huge heavy metal fan from the 80s.
Okay.
And we used to go to rock clubs when we were teenagers. And the bands that would play at Madison Square Garden would come out to Sundance and play. And that's where we would go, is meet the bands there. And then they'd go play at the Coliseum or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, we go in. This guy that was singing was killing the heavy metal. He was killing it. The singer, the band was right on. I mean, Kelly knew every song. I'm just sitting there like, wow, you know. I know some heavy metal, but not as much as her. And we wound up having a spectacular time, needless to say. I got in around 2 o'clock in the morning. So, but I still got up around 8 and, you know, said, okay, it's time to start the day. Started sanding.
There you go. So there you go. Congratulations to Miss Kelly.
Yes.
The hardcore rocker. Appreciate you. And I know you've had a busy morning. You just raced home. So glad that we were able to do this. We haven't spoken. I was, it's funny. Last weekend, I was like, hey, you know what? Let's just take the day because there's not much to talk about. So, and I the schedule comes out, and my goodness, it's not a boring schedule. It's not a boring schedule, and it's my goodness, and we got some Jaylen Ramsey news. There's a lot of stuff going on. First off, shout out to Steve Malloy, host of Real Talk Fins Talk here on FTSN, joining in. We appreciate Steve. He was on last night talking about the schedule, and then of course Sammy, my brother from Puerto Rico, host of Fins TV. For those who have not seen, which I'm crazy to say, if you haven't seen, you're missing out. Go check out Fins TV with Sammy and the crew, and they put on an amazing production. I love their stuff. I mean, it's like Sammy was joking around about a profile picture I put up, and I'm like, dude, I love your content. And so shout out to Sammy and the crew there. And we got to get Sammy on the show one of these days, man. We definitely got to get him on here. Talk some Dolphins. Good afternoon, Hank, if I may. I called it last year with Lisa first. I'm starting my campaign today, Bobby, for the 25 fan of the year. Oh, Sammy, I appreciate that. Thank you, brother. From your lips to God's ears. But that's all good, man. I love what I do, and I love doing this with Fish Tank and the crew. Man, let's get into it. We got some Dolphin stuff, and we're going to get into this schedule. And let's do it, man. So first is first. Well, I'll get into some Jaylen Ramsey stuff as we continue to wait. Will it be he? Would it be Tyreek? It's most likely to be Jaylen Ramsey. Who's going to get moved? And, a lot of he will. But, for what? What does he get moved for? Do we expect a big pick? Do we expect what? Many people thought, hey, we wouldn't expect a big pick because we got him for a third round and a Hunter Long. Look, I'm happy with a third round pick. I think a third round pick is a premium pick, because that's when you get those quality players. However, Adam Schefter of ESPN broke that, no, there's more interest in Jaylen Ramsey than most people thought there would be, that Miami could probably get a deal done, and probably a good deal that most people expected, just because of how many teams are interested in Jaylen Ramsey. Who wouldn't be interested in Jaylen Ramsey, first of all, just because of the type of player he is? I mean, an all-pro corner, a leader in the locker room, a guy 110%, elevates everybody. Remember, Fish Tank, when we first got him with Vic Fangio, we got Vic Fangio and Ramsey, the Dolphins defense was kind of lackluster until Ramsey got in there, and all of a sudden it became a top 10 defense. That's the impact he has on a team. So it makes a lot of sense for teams to be going crazy to try to go get him. Teams that are being rumored are the Rams, of course, his former team that traded him, the Raiders, the Falcons, the Bengals. They said that if he was to be moved, it would likely be executed, obviously, post June 1st. If a deal is agreed upon before June, the deal won't be finalized until post June. So your thoughts on this report that the Dolphins could possibly get a good deal for Ramsey, that more teams are interested than most thought?
Well, my thought, first of all, is what do you consider a good deal?
For me, honestly, and I would love to hear from Steve and Hank and all. Steve and Fit and Sammy. I believe, again, I would not hate seeing a third round pick, because I could see where minimum 4th to 5th round pick for Miami, but I think a third round pick would be great value. Obviously, no, everybody wants a first round, second round pick. I mean, oh my goodness, we'd be jumping for joy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
that would help out right away. But
we'd be doing a little more than jumping for joy. At least I would.
Yeah, you'd be flying high, Chief. We know that. But
it's Bobby. It's a matter of the compensation, and the big part we all know. How much does Miami have to pay of his contract? That's the whole big deal, that Miami's going to be eating some of that one way or another. Ends up, Sammy.
Yeah, no, and Sammy's that's why again, I would not be. That's why for me, when initially throughout all this, I'm saying, okay, I know I'd be happy with a third round pick. Realistically, last Sammy's bringing up here, the contract, you go up it more than likely a 4th to 5th round pick. But Steve's in the money. He said 3 or 4 would be a good deal for me. I would be happy either way. Of course, everybody's no, we need a first round pick. Let's be real, with the contract, with the age, and because he doesn't want to be here. And it's, you're not going to get a good deal because teams have the leverage at that point. So It's going to suck because it does hurt Miami. Once you move Jaylen Ramsey, you look at a cornerback room. We got a new rookie in Jason Marshall. We'll see what we got in him. I don't think it's fair for anybody to say he's going to be a bust or not, and whatever. It's too early to tell, but he's a rookie. So it's not a good expectations to put on him, but you got him. You got Cam Smith, who's not shown anything in the last 2 years. You hope he steps up. Kader Kohu. Miami's been in on some veterans, but still their cornerback room is not what it was last year going in.
No.
So once you lose Jaylen Ramsey, it's going to be very, very tough.
Yes. We did some moves in the draft, and this was the one big thing that you and I discussed right before the draft. And I told you I was concerned, that I had big concerns. Look who we go against. Look at the wide receivers and the quarterbacks we face this year.
Yeah.
I hope Chris Greer has a plan to bring in some more talent. Now, I like our guys. They're good, but they're not elite. And they're going to be going against elite wide receivers. And I don't want to see them cooked all day. However, our defensive coordinator has a way of getting things done, when things are limited. So I'm not concerned too much about them finding talent. I'm just concerned with the caliber. Can they compete aggressively with these wide receivers we got to go against? And my question is, I don't know. That's a huge question mark for me. And you say a third round pick. Yeah, that's good compensation for him. That's really good compensation. I like that. The only thing I don't like is it wasn't done before the draft. So we didn't get the option to use that pick to possibly pick somebody up in his place. So I wish Greer would have tried to make something really happen before. Fins up, Cap. Right before,
And I think Miami explored that. I think the only issue with that was that it's going to be a bigger cap hit unless it was done. If it was done before June 1st, I think Miami saw that. Now, of course, if you get a deal that you can't refuse, you take the hit and you walk away. Because you got a deal you couldn't walk away from. But because of the contract situation, because the penalty you would get before June 1st, Miami probably said, "Hey, the deals aren't that good right now to make this move right now. Let's just go." And obviously, if there's enough talk and enough conversations with other teams, Miami's probably very comfortable sitting down and let everybody kind of pump up the market. Because if he's that sought after, let the market play itself out. And again, I understand because I'm with you. I mean, I'm with Dolphin fans, most of them, where it's like, man, I am concerned about this defensive back room in regards to the cornerback position. Not much the safeties. I'm excited about the safeties.
Yeah.
But the corners, I am very concerned with. However, I will say that we have a rookie in Jason Marshall that we don't know how he's going to perform. It was a head scratcher. There were other guys on the board that I felt more better with Zaw Frazier and I'm forgetting the kid now from Virginia. There were a few other guys, but Darian Strong, I think, right? Maybe I'm wrong. But anyway, Miami does this. Their scouts do this for a living. I'm going to put my trust in them. I know that's hard for most people to get, but I'm not gonna be against this kid. I'm not gonna root against this kid. I'm gonna cheer for this kid, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. I hope he comes hungry to camp and he busts out and he shocks the world. And Cam Smith, look, man, 2 years has not done anything, has not showed up. Now, third year's a charm. I hope so. I'm rooting for him. I hope when he steps up into this big role that he shows up and shows out. And then we don't know what Miami's gonna bring post free agency. So yes, there's a lot to be concerned with in regards to this cornerback room, but there's a lot of hope because there's a lot of unknown, which leads to, hey, maybe there's some hope here that these guys shock the world and we go, whoa, Jason Marshall, what a hit.
Yeah.
By midseason, we're going, damn, that kid is good. And maybe Cam Smith finally starts to turn the corner. I do hope, obviously, Miami goes in and gets a veteran. We need that. I know they've been on Rasul Douglas, Samuel. There's a few guys that they've been connected with. We'll see how that plays out. Talk about a Dolphin we don't have to worry about getting traded, God forbid. But a big one is Devonta Aint. Last year as a weapon, not more as a running back, even though that is his position and that is what he played. And I really was happy with him last year. But as a weapon on offense, he was an elite weapon. I mean, he could do it all: catch, pass, whatever. He has some big goals this season. He has said that he wants to get over 1,000 yards rushing, and he wants over 500 yards receiving. If anybody can do it, he can, especially, and now again, it depends on the offensive line and it depends on, what he's able to do. Miami did go get another running back in Ollie Gordon, who I am very excited. I've been banging that table draft process, fish tank. So, with Devonta Aint, Ollie Gordon, Jaylen Wright, I'm excited about this running back room.
That was one of my favorite picks.
Yes,
was
sir.
Gordon. I was happy, so happy they finally got a big body.
Yes. And I mean, 6'2", 220. I mean, this dude, I'm just excited. I'm excited about this running back room. And it's not false excitement. I don't want people to go, oh, I think it's going to be. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I love the potential of this room. I love these three young backs and what they could do, because we don't know what they can do at their full strength. Devonta Aint has not hit his ceiling yet. There is so much there to go on.
With our offensive line, there's no way any of them have come close to a ceiling. Okay. So maybe if this offensive line, the people that we got, we get them in there, we get them starting, we might see some people getting pushed around, and we might see a different set of running backs.
We could. That's right. And again, let me just say, do I think it's realistic for Devonta Aint to get this goal? Absolutely. I really do. I think, if he's that type of player, and I love that he came out and said, hey, you got whoever's talking, all these fans, whatever, people talking trash, keep that same energy during the season. He's putting whether he believes or not, he's putting that on, not on just the fans, but he's also putting it on the team and himself to show up and show out, to put those expectations on, saying, hey, keep that same energy, because you're going to be surprised what we do.
Well, like Daniel said, we're going with the kids.
1,000%.
We're going with the new people. And you know what? I have no problem with that. None at all. And what Miami has done, in my opinion, has now built a respectable running back room, in my opinion. There's enough talent there that teams have to deal with that now. Whereas before, we didn't have that big body and we didn't have the complete package and all this other stuff. But the people we have in there now, and if we see an improvement on this offensive line, forget about it. HN could possibly go off. He could possibly go off. You and I were talking before this, about his comments, and I don't know if it's that steep, but he could possibly go off.
Yeah, he could. And again, he's putting that on himself. So he's that type of player. He's that type of player that will put that on his shoulders, and he's going to show up and show out. I truly believe he's going to show up and show out. There are some, and I get it. There are some fans in the Dolphins fan verse here that don't believe he is that all around, that he's that back, but he's an all around back. He's an all around repping. But I think he's going to show it this year that he could be that guy. He is he's a damn great player. So I don't want anybody to get, he is what I believe Reggie Bush could have been, what Reggie Bush was with Miami when he came here. He did it all. So
Reggie Bush didn't do bad with Miami.
No, I love Reggie Bush. He was my favorite college player. And I loved him on the Dolphins. I wish he was on here. He was with longer. And I see him in Devonta Aint. And I do believe Devonta Aint, because he has his mind set on that. I believe that he could get over 1,000 yards rushing, and I do believe he could get 500 yards receiving, even with Ollie Gordon. And let me tell you guys something. I believe in Ollie Gordon. I'm not saying he's going to go crazy. I'm just saying that I believe in this kid, and I think fans are going to be very excited with him. Catford says, has anyone seen the new distraction? I mean, the new uniforms. Talking about the new uniforms, let's get into it. That's why I took out my black jersey. It's a merino there, but not that this is the jersey or that is the helmet, but it's been gaining steam this week. That there are some rumors, and Go Time Dolphins were saying it's because they revealed that it could be on the Jets game. Nobody knows what it looks like, but there's supposedly a rumor that Dolphins are going to come out with an all black uniform or a black uniform helmet gear to come out against the Jets during the season. And, you know, some people said Miami Vice. I've seen other ones with the black with the Dolphins colors, kind of like this with the orange or with the orange. So let me just ask this without, you know, first off, preference. Well, I said and a second, fish tank. But first, alternate uniforms, black. When you hear that, where's your excitement level? Is there excitement, or are you kind of like, I'd rather just stick to tradition?
You know, they could do a lot with black, and especially black and white, black and orange, uh, black and neon colors. They can. I've seen so many images that people have created before with the darker color
Yeah.
jersey, and some of them just are sharp as all get out. Now, what's Miami's plans? You know, are they going to go with a black jersey and like white dolphin emblems, or you know, who knows? They could do a million and one things with these, especially you know the helmets. They could go quite a few different ways. My excitement level is it's like having a little party. You know what I mean? It gives you something to celebrate as far as you're not always seeing the same old
Yeah.
every single time. Like last year or the year before, it was white, 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 white.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, are they ever going to wear anything else? But, you know, I, I think that it's a positive thing. I don't like getting too many alternate jerseys though. Like I don't like the orange, the all orange. That's not me. That's not me. The all orange one. I'm not into that one. But some people really like that one. But the only reason I'm not huge on that is because Denver had the orange crush. So us in orange uniforms wasn't really, you know, kind of my thing because I always remember the orange crush from the Denver Broncos. So, and they were really good.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. At the I'll tell you, I always loved the 2000s uniform with the cartoon dolphin, and that orange uniform was nice. That was orange and white pants, white helmet. That was
I
slick.
know a
That was
lot of people like it.
I love that jersey. Not the new one, not the recent orange one with all orange pants, orange. That was ugly. You know, I'll tell you what, I'm very excited about an alternate black uniform for the Dolphins. I really am.
Yeah,
It's different. I understand where people are kind of like, man, like Cap says, I hope they don't screw this up. You know, hopefully they don't treat it like they treated the schedule introduction video, which wasn't that great. You know, I mean, it's
yeah,
kind of, you know, I mean, shout out to them, shout out to the crew, but you know, they could have done better. There was a lot of good ones.
yeah.
But I truly believe, you know, if I mean, it's very hard to go wrong with black, especially with Miami's colors, black and orange, black and teal, black and aqua, whatever. Like you said, black and white. You know, Miami's colors are gorgeous. You know,
Yeah.
and when people tell me the Dolphins have the ugliest colors, I go, you must be
What?
colorblind, brother. I've heard that before. You know, like you must be colorblind. The Dolphins have the most beautiful colors in all the like that's South, that's Miami, brother. And I go, and that's not even right. That's just damn, they're nice. And you can put it, they go with everything, black, white, you know, it's like it's perfect.
Orange, aqua, black,
Come
white.
on, dude.
Those are our colors.
And so I'm very excited. It's hard. I believe it's hard for Miami to screw this up.
There they
but
are, right there.
there you go. But I'm intrigued. You know, we'll see it once if it comes out. It looks like it may. A lot of people are really a lot of the bigger guys are saying it. So let's hope it becomes a reality. Getting to the
Yeah.
schedule, based off what Miami did last year at 8-9 and how they perform on primetime, nobody really expected too many primetime games for the Miami Dolphins.
No.
Well, surprise, the
Bam.
Dolphins have 5 primetime games. 5. Buffalo in week 3 on Thursday Night Football. Then the week after against the New York Jets in Miami on ESPN. Then week 9, they got the Baltimore Ravens on Thursday Night Football. Then, of course, 9:30 in the morning Eastern time. I'll be up for that. But the Washington Commanders in Spain on the NFL Network. And then finally, actually, no. Then Pittsburgh, Monday Night Football, ESPN, and Cincinnati in Miami on NBC at Sunday Night Football. So we're going to get into the schedule in just a bit, Fishing, but 5 primetime games. Your reaction?
I'm stunned. I'm utterly stunned. Miami hasn't done anything lately to claim 5 primetime games. Really? All right. Okay. All right. It's quite a surprise to me. To be totally honest with you, it's a shock. So they must know something I don't. Like those black jerseys must be magic.
Maybe, just maybe. That's right.
Yeah, that's a tough one. But no.
So surprising nonetheless. Caught you off guard. I think it caught a lot of people off guard. And I mean, hey, as Dolphin fans, yeah, the good thing is you get to watch your Dolphins on a Monday night or Sunday night. It's cool. Same time though, it's like, especially if you're out of state, whether you're like me in Tennessee or Steve in Texas or whatever, you don't have to try to find a bar or Sunday ticket or, you could just, it's prime time. So you just turn on ESPN and there's Miami, or in the morning NFL Network. But again, Miami's record on prime time ain't great. So then you're like, kind of like, oh, dude. So,
That's the other thing. You sit there in misery watching these primetime games, and we have 5 of them.
5. So it was a shock for me. I mean, again, it maybe it tells you how the NFL views Miami. That hey, despite the drama, in spite of how they performed, Tua, Waddle, Hill, Achin, you still McDaniel. Miami is still a team fans want to watch. Teams, the networks want to see. So hopefully Miami can live up to those expectations. And do they? We're going to talk about it. I will preference to say, as we get into our talk about the NFL schedule, what we discuss here is it's a little too early, right? I know a lot of people's throwing out their predictions, oh, I think they're going to do this. Oh, they're going to do that. It's a little too early because the offseason is not done. We know Jaylen Ramsey more than likely is going to get traded. We don't know how the Tyreek Hill situation is going to wrap up unless, is he going to stay with the team? Will he be moved? We will see.
He ain't going.
What will Miami sign? Who will Miami sign? Excuse me, whether it's corners, any more offensive linemen, whatever. So what we talk about today is way too early prediction. And then preseason, we'll come back again and say, hey, this is where we finished. This is where we are now, based off what Miami's done in the preseason, what they've looked like on the roster, and then we wrap it up and go from there. So initially, we'll just talk about the games, and then we'll just talk the games, and then we'll talk about how we see them playing out. Fish Tank. Let's see. Elwood, what's up, man? Great to see you in here, brother.
Yeah, what's up, Elwood? I was just reading some of his comments. The 6 Division 5 prime time.
See,
no 4 o'clock, 3 cold late, 2 Thursday, and 1 in Spain.
It's true.
That's a schedule. That is a schedule as he lays out.
Yeah. And Elwood, says a good point. That's probably what Miami's thinking, or excuse me, the NFL and then in the networks. Hey, can Miami be what 23 was? I mean, the 23 team was very exciting on offense, and Miami's built up that they put some work into that offensive line. Is it done? No. Is it better? Yes. But you think about that secondary. So I can understand where some fans are kind of iffy, whatever, and or some that are optimistic. It's always optimistic before the season. You always have that optimism, healthy, whatever.
Yeah.
But let's roll this out. Let's kind of play this out, Fish Tank. Obviously, first off, again, this is an early prediction of the schedule. We're going to look it over and then we'll go over predictions, Fish Tank. I will say, obviously, it's all preferences on how this cornerback room looks, how the offensive line plays out.
Hey, Bobby, I did want to make a point before we continue on with this. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I do enjoy doing it.
Yes, I know you do.
Okay. So anyway, the cornerback room, that's what I wanted to talk to you about. I talked about how I have a lot of concerns, but there's also something Miami did that kind of boosts my confidence. They went in hard. I mean, hard for defensive tackles.
Yes.
And I'll tell you right now, if we're getting the kind of action I think we're going to get off of those DTs, wow. We might not need the cornerbacks to cover as long as they've been covering if those guys step up and, the nucleus of both sides of the ball are still there with the exception of our cornerback room. But they beefed up both lines and they both have more potential than they did the past 2 years. So I have some confidence, and I'm talking about the lines.
Yeah.
And the offense hasn't changed. You still have the whole meat and potatoes of this offense. All you did was get a great lineman to bring in and beef up the line. I mean, come on, the guy's fabulous. I'm guessing he's going to be starting for sure. But, big, mean guy. They didn't play around. And I just, I really think this offense could be what people expected, a couple, 2, 3 years ago. I just really think. And the other thing was, I told you over these past 2 years that either the defense is stomping or the offense is stomping. It's never a complete. They haven't put the offense and the defense together still to this day, in my opinion, since they started rebuilding. There were a couple games here and there where they came out, the 70 burger game and all that. There were some games they really sparked up. But I'm saying for the most part, what we expected hasn't shown up. And I think a big part of that has been the line. Without getting the push, without making the holes for the running backs, without being able to protect the quarterback, there's been a lot of problems. And once they did both lines, my biggest concern, which is the cornerbacks, like I told you, that is a little eased by those defensive tackles that they went after. So I just wanted to point that out before we continued on and tell you why I felt that I wasn't as concerned as I initially was.
No, that's good. It's great points. Absolutely great points. And we talked about that during the draft that how the defensive line could impact, especially the additions that they've made, could impact your coverage. It gets quarterbacks to freak out. They make errant throws, and it's easier balls to catch and deflect on your cornerback room. So
it just totally helps the cornerbacks out. I mean, it gives them kind of a little bit of an edge that they need, because right now, if we lose Ramsey, like I said, I don't see anybody in that room that's elite.
Yeah. So, and that's fair. That's fair. And you can't make that up. You don't want to say that they're elite because we don't know. Let me make this here So I want to be able to keep track because I will forget as we're going along. Again, what I was trying to say before too, a lot of this too depends on Tua. His health throughout the season. How many games does he play? What games is he missing if he does miss them? That's to be very important. I do feel a lot better about our quarterback room than I did last year. 100%. I really do. I think it's leap and bounds above what we had. I mean, what Miami did last season in the quarterback room was malpractice in the highest order. To go in with Skylar Thompson and Mike White and then having to, go get Tyler Huntley off the street, for agency to, play quarter. It was a mess. And so, but they go into this offseason, they bring in Zach Wilson, who I know, look, he's not some savior, guys. We know what he's done, what he is. He is only 3 to 4 years in. He's a former first round pick. You're not signing him to be your starter. He's your backup, but I think it's a smart move to be your backup. That's the move Miami should have made last year. Going to get one of those type of guys to come in and play. That if Tua goes down, you have a guy that could possibly win you maybe a game or two, possibly. Now, here's the benefit of that. Oh, I don't believe in Zach Wilson. He's trash. But okay, let's say, God forbid, Tua goes down a certain amount of games. Let's say Zach Wilson is not that guy. He can't step in and play, and he struggles. And let's say Miami's lost for the season. Now you got Quinn Ewers, rookie quarterback, 7th round pick out of Texas, who not long ago was viewed as a first round pick. He was injured last season. He just did an interview with a former offensive lineman. I didn't get. I'm trying to remember the name. But he has a chip on his shoulder. He was shocked that he was drafted that low. He probably thought he was like me. I had a 3rd round grade on him. Based off what I saw last season, he got picked in the 7th round. This guy, a lot of times before that, was the number 1 quarterback coming out of high school. Was projected to be a number 1 pick before last season. If he would have went out, he probably would have been a 1st round pick. Decided to go back to school, bit him in the ass. Was a 7th round pick. It is what it is. Miami, if Tua goes down and Zach Wilson ain't that guy, Quinn Ewers could come in. If Quinn Ewers comes in and shows up, shows out, then Miami's great. They're comfortable. They can go and focus on other things in the season. If he doesn't, then Miami has a decent backup. They got their rookie guy there. They could go and figure out the quarterback position next season. It's a win-win for Miami. So, but I feel a lot better about this QB room than I do last year.
I feel good about the QB room and all that, and we have much better players. However, Miami's offense is all timing. It's all timing. And those backups don't work with the number 1s quite enough to get that timing down. And I think that's why a lot of our backup quarterbacks have kind of had troubles. They've had troubles because they're busy getting that timing with the secondary players, not the number 1s. And I just truly think for this kind of offense, they have to get that timing down if they take over. If they don't get it down, we'll see more of what we saw last year. And, that's what I like about Zach Wilson. Like you said, he's got 3 to 4 years in. He's the kind of guy that can come in and pick things up a little quicker. And because he can get that rhythm down. And he's going to be the number, we all know he's the number 2, and number 2s usually get a little more time with the 1s. So,
yeah. All right. So very quick, just running this down before we get into how we think this could play out. Week 1 at Indianapolis. The Dolphins travel to Indianapolis and play the Colts. George of the Fins Faithful podcast is in the house. Let me shout out him. I just saw him pop up. Good day, sir. Happy Saturday. Fins up to you, my brother. Guys, I know you're crazy if you haven't. Would say this just like I said for Sammy on Fins TV. If you love the Miami Dolphins, go check out the Fins Faithful podcast. Okay. Hank butted out. I'll bring him back in just a second. But go check out the Fins Faithful podcast. The coverage, the guest, the insight, they've got it all. One of the best run podcasts out there. Fastest rising Dolphins podcast, I'd say, is the Fins Faithful pod. So shout out to George.
Bobby, what is it? Nobody bothers me for the most part.
Oh, they're calling you.
As soon as I start doing this, they start calling me.
That's right. You see, they know you're there. They know what you're doing. They're messing with you. Yeah,
I
Zach
don't
could
know
run
what
around
they're
too.
doing.
So Indianapolis in week 1, which I'm excited about. It's about 4.5 hours away from me. So I've already kind of talked to Tati. I'm like, hey, maybe I could take a ride up there. Maybe I'll take Tristan and go ride up to see, go see the Colts Dolphins game. And she's like, oh, maybe that could be a birthday present. I'm like, oh, because my birthday's in July and that's in September, but it's all good. Anyway, then we take on the New England Patriots, who's had a very good. Now, again, I will say though, Anthony Richardson. Let's run this down. Anthony Richardson looks in phenomenal shape. I mean, a lot of people have their eyes on him. They were ragging on him last year. It looks like he put in the work this offseason. I'm not sleeping on the Colts. He looks, he looking like he's ready to have a big year, but we'll see. Then you got the Patriots, new coach, Mike Vrabel. Damn it. They got their second year quarterback. The offseason they've had, I mean, definitely better what they did than what they had last year. They put in the work. Buffalo, the big brother of the division, that's in week 3. That's prime time. Then you got the Jets, so Miami faces all 3 of their AFC East rivals in a matter of in the first 4 weeks. Then you got at the Panthers. Then we go back to Miami, face the Chargers. Then we go to Cleveland. Then we go to Atlanta. That might be another game or a game. The other game that I'm, if I don't go to Indy, maybe I'll go to Atlanta because that's another 4.5 hours. Got Baltimore, Buffalo, the Commanders in Spain. Will not be going to that one. That's a little far, Got the
I just bought a house. I'm not going to Spain.
Yeah, man. Yeah, absolutely. The Finn's Faithful podcast is on fire, man. I love what they're doing there. I love what he's doing, man. You got week 12, finally got a bye week, which I think is perfect. It's right where it needs to be. Week 12 is where you want it. I think
like that, huh?
I'm very happy about the week 12 bye.
I like it a little closer to the beginning. That's just me. Yeah, we got some hard games like Baltimore and Buffalo. Our guys are going to get beat up. I mean, those are bruiser games. They are. I mean, come on. They are.
I know. And well, this is why I like it.
And then they have to go all the way to Spain.
Yeah, no, that's why they got the bye week right after Spain.
That's what I was going to say. That's what I like, though.
So gives them time.
I think that Washington Commanders game is going to be a very tough game before that bye.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt. No doubt about it. So after the bye, though, Miami takes on the Saints. Then they go to New York and take on the Jets. Then we got a primetime game against Pittsburgh, a primetime game against Cincinnati. Then you got the Buccaneers, and then you got in New England to wrap up the season, which, of course, it's a division rival. That game there's a TBD, to be determined time frame, because we don't know. Will that be a 1 o'clock game, a 4 o'clock game, or a primetime game, depending on how the season is looking for Miami, for the Patriots, and for whatever the NFL has to offer. So anyway, Russ Morgan in the house of the On Deck Baseball Podcast and our resident Jets fan here on FTSN. I'm seeing 8 wins, missed the playoffs as always. Re-up to a contract, stuck with him. Oh, shut up. Starting trouble here, boy. The Miss Fins, what's up? Miss Fins is in the house.
Miss Fins, I'm right here. Your guy.
We have an all-star crew, man.
I know. You're talking about Bobby.
We got Finn's TV on. We got the Finn's Faithful podcast. We got Cap. We got Miss Fins. We got everyone tuning in. Appreciate you, Miss Fins. How are you, my friend? Great to see that you're in here. Hope you're doing well. So let's get into this. Let's go ahead and we'll start game 1. All right. And again, just Turbo Duran. Josh Allen is laughing at you all. Whatever. Thank you for watching, Turbo. Appreciate you watching. So, all right. Fish Tank. Starting off the season, Dolphins traveled Indianapolis. I'll tell you, just, and again, we're going to go off these predictions, whatever it is. Very early on, I tell you, when I look at this, there are some tough ass games. There are you can go in any of these teams for cause to pause, but I feel really good about the first half of the season, more better than the second half. Primetime games always scare me, but just starting with that. But Indianapolis, Fish Tank, this is a way too early prediction. We'll come back during the preseason to make our final prediction. But how you feeling about this game, my man?
I honestly don't think when I look at this schedule and I see the defenses we're facing, I see Miami with a lot of positive going into a lot of these games, especially Indianapolis is one of them. I think that our offense is gonna take off against their defense, in my opinion. I think Miami's gonna win that one to
Yeah.
start the season.
Yeah, I'm with you. I have a win on that again, and I ain't sleeping on them at all.
No, I'm not sleeping on them. Like I said, their offense could come alive, but like I said, I like those defensive tackles we got.
Yeah. And Sammy, I've actually I've been thinking about that, my man. I'm going to reach out to you because I think that's a great idea. So I'm with you. I think again, I'm not sleeping on India. I see how Anthony Richardson, who I really liked coming out of college, and he looks like he's in shape. I know there's a lot of hate on him right now, but he's a kid, dude. He's a rookie coming into his second year. I think he has a good head on his shoulders, but I do have Miami winning this football game. I love that Miami does this, has this type of game right away to kind of set the tone for the season. Then they travel back home to Miami and they take on the Patriots, who are absolutely improved in the coaching room and on the roster. There's no doubt. And it's a divisional game, which are always tough, but it's in Miami, Fish Tank. Right now, at this point in time, because our guys should be relatively healthy, I'm not worried about the Patriots' weapons. Not right now. I believe in Miami. Miami could win this game.
It's an early heat game. And I think when you have that kind of game, I've sat in that stadium on the sun side, and it's no joke over there. It's no joke. And I'm just sitting there. So I couldn't imagine playing in it. But Miami always has an advantage, in my opinion, when they're at home in the middle of that heat. Uh, and like you said, they have picked up some awesome players, hands down, and a great coach. But are they going to come out and explode their first year? All of those rookies they got, and all these plans and schemes from Vrabel, are they going to work? I don't know. You have a notebook on Vrabel already, so I like you. I don't see them winning. I don't see them
I'm
winning.
not concerned with them in this game. I'll tell you, it's a spoiler for me, but I will say I can see Miami splitting it. Splitting the series.
Oh,
That's where I
absolutely.
could say
Because you
I'm
have that last game, and
in New England, and
yeah,
by that time, the guys are checked in. Vrabel's no joke.
yeah,
So I see Miami splitting the series. So, but I have them winning game one.
yeah.
Next one is the toughest one, Fish Tank, and that is to start off. And this is the tone setter for the season in regards of how the season could play out at Buffalo. Now, again, this
Mhm.
is not a cold weather game. This is in
Oh,
Buffalo, but it's the start of the season, which is great. But it's prime time, and
yep.
Miami under the bright lights shrink
Mhm.
like George Costanza in cold water pool. He shrinks under the bright lights.
Yep.
So that's a Seinfeld reference. So Buffalo Bills, Fish Tank. How do you see that one playing out?
You know, the Buffalo Bills, they got Josh Allen. He's no joke. We all know this.
We know that.
We know this. But this game is going to come down to one thing for the Miami Dolphins, believe it or not.
You got it.
It's not going to be so much about Josh Allen. Miami's defensive line has to do the job in this game. Has to. If they don't get push and stop him from running all over us like he did past times, if they don't stop Josh Allen from running up the middle and going on the outside and just torching us that way, or starting to do that, and our cornerbacks drop off and he just throws the ball to whoever he wants. That's been the past record. So that's why I keep saying, I don't know, man. They got some good defensive line players for the defensive tackles. But with our secondary, Josh Allen's got too much talent, man. I
It's okay.
I don't know that our secondary can hold up against that kind of talent.
Let me tell you, I'll make it easy for you, Fish Tank. I see where you're going, and I'll just make it easy, and I think it's fair. Buffalo's the big brother. Miami has not done enough. I mean, has not shown that they could do it. Until they can do it, we're not going to say they're going to do it. I'm not going to say it. So to me, this is the first loss of the season for Miami at this point in time. And I think that's where you are, right?
Yeah.
So, which I think is fair. It's in Buffalo. And honestly, again, when I see the Buffalo Bills, to me, it's like that's an L. Until they can win, it's an L. And again, during the season, Buffalo could be going through a thing. They could get hurt, whatever. And oh, gosh, this is the best chance to win. And they could do it. But right now in this time, anyone who could say Miami beats Buffalo, you got to give Hank whatever you're smoking because he smokes it, not me, but it's probably very good. But especially with what our undefeated, I see undefeated is all the way to go, brother. You're on the direction, huh? There you go. That's usually the opposite of where you go. All the good players just say, Hank, we lose. Steve doesn't mind saying that one. All right, so now
it's again, my biggest concern is the cornerbacks, and
absolutely.
But with Josh Allen, it's different. See, half his game is running.
Yeah.
And if those D tackles come through, wow, you could shut down half his game, is what I'm saying. You shut down half his game and keep him throwing deep balls for those wide receivers, he's going to make mistakes. Now, by game 2, I'll know how our rookies are going to do and all that as far as against offensive lines. But right now, I give Josh Allen and the gang the nod because, like you said, they've packed lunch, ate, and left us stomped dead with ants crawling on us.
Let's see here. This is a good one. The whole secondary has me Joe Philbin like quiz. That is really good. That's a t-shirt. My goodness, that's a t-shirt, Fins TV. Sammy, there you go. You got your first merchandise, I think. This secondary has me Joe Philbin like queasy. Now we get our other AFC East opponent, and that's the New York Football Jets in Miami. Let me just say again, they're a huge question mark. They got a lot of talent on their house. They got a coaching staff that I think has some upside. Aaron Glenn, I'm a huge fan of Aaron Glenn from Detroit. Hated when he went to the Jets because I like him a lot. They got Mason Taylor, which really pisses me off too, just because I could have been happy anywhere else. If he would have went anywhere else except for the Jets, Buffalo, or the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots, the Bills, or the Jets. But he went to the Jets. And now you have Jason Taylor saying Jets. And, it's just disgusting. It makes me want to vomit, Russell. But, look, they're a question mark. However, we know what Justin Fields is. I don't care what our secondary really looks like. That defensive line is going to eat up Justin Fields. I'm not worried about the Jets at this point in time. How I feel about Buffalo is how I feel about the Jets opposite. And that's not a knock on Russ. I'm not picking on Russ, and I'm just being legit. I have that as a win, Fish Tank. Am I crazy?
This game is going to be about Miami's run game. What this one's. It's going to come down to the run game because Miami hasn't gotten the push on the line against the Jets. That's our biggest concern. If we can get some push and get some running plays in there, obviously our wide receivers can torch them. I really think it's going to come down to what that line can do. And man, I got a little more faith than I did last year. And I think Miami's going to be able to run on them.
Okay. You got that as a win. Oh.
Cause for pause.
I like that. I was about to ask you, is there some cause to pause? Talk to me, brother. What do you got?
Jets wide receivers.
Yes.
They're good. Enough. They are good, to say the least.
Okay.
man, they had an extra year with their quarterback. Wow. Like you said, that defensive line, though, I think is going to get after him. I don't think they're going to be able to get around that defensive line where the quarterback's going to feel comfortable at all, especially in Miami. I think the Jets go down in flames, even though I have a cause to pause.
That's fair. I think it's a great point to talk about cause for pause. Makes you think about it. So now they travel to Carolina and take on the Panthers, who has their third year Bryce Young. He struggled in his rookie year. Had a tough start last year, but got better as the season got along.
Yeah.
I don't see this. I'd be, I know, again, I hate the secondary right now, or, just the thought of the secondary, because that really rubs me the wrong way. But I still think Miami should win this game with the talent. They have enough talent on this roster to beat the Panthers. So I'm going to go with a win here. And Daniel, I love Gordon, Ollie Gordon. Scatterbo, it would have been awesome too. I mean, that dude is legit, but I'm excited about Ollie Gordon, brother. Eric, what's up, Eric? Great to see you in here. Fish Tank, I have this as a win. How do you see this?
I think Miami wins on both sides of the ball when I'm looking at this. I don't see the Carolina Panthers competing with us.
Easy enough. So now you got it's in Miami, and we got the Chargers.
Yep.
So the Chargers come in, Coach Harbaugh, Justin Herbert, their receiver room, they've improved, all that, whatnot. But it's not a primetime game. I don't have it in front of me right now, but it's not. But anyway, how do you see this game playing out?
Wow. This is going to be a tough game for Miami. But, Herbert has shown in the past that when they start to get after him, he'll make some mistakes. And he's a lot like Josh Allen in the fact that half his game is running, it seems, getting around people and then releasing the ball and having a little more time because he's got that big arm. Wow. I think Miami might lose this one at home, believe it or not.
Really? Okay. Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
Wow. Their offense is good.
So, sorry. What is this here? Oh, that is.
And now they have Harbaugh?
Well, Harbaugh from last year. Yeah, they hired him. And, Najee Harris at running back, Amarian Hampton out of North Carolina, who is, I think that guy would be a stud, man.
Yeah.
And Aronde Gatson as tight end, their third tight end.
Yeah.
They got some weapon. Mike Williams just re-signed. They got Quentin Jan, Lamb McCankey.
See?
Yeah, I get that one. I get that one.
Yeah, that one's tough.
That one's a tough one.
And I'm, Bobby, I've told you so many times in the past, if we're playing at home, 9 out of 10 times, I'm picking us at home.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I just don't think so. I just don't.
I hear you. Looking at what they have as weapons, and again, and I don't know, the wild card on offense for Miami is going to be Tyreek Hill. What happens with Tyreek Hill? Yeah. Where is he at this time? Is he off the team? Is he suspended? Is he sitting? Is he playing? Is he playing at the top of his game? We don't know. You would think with the talent on Miami's roster that we should match up pretty well with the Chargers, but kind of thinking with Harbaugh, the way their team has improved this offseason, the way they did last year, I'm going to be with you, Fishek. You got me, man. I'm going to go with the Chargers on this one.
Yeah. 72 says Chargers win. Tank for Manning.
No guarantee Arch Manning will be going out next year. I mean, I will say, though, Arch Manning or no Arch Manning, there's a lot of damn good quarterbacks coming out in next year's draft. Just saying.
He's not the only one.
Yeah, trust me. Don't get me wrong. Arch Manning, the whole NFL is watching him because of his last name and how talented he is. He is talented, and he can run. He's more agile than his uncles. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of good ones there. Like Fishing said, if we rattle, yeah, absolutely, Eric, 100%. Tyreek Lees, we will pack it in. Players might check out by then. Well, that'd be very early if they check out by then. But I could see it. And again, we're not going to win every home game, but I could see it. Fish Tank got me there. I was leaning Dolphins. I was, but as Fish Tank was talking, and then I go and I look at their roster because I go, let me see. They've improved this offseason, and I really believe in Hampton.
Yeah,
what they've been able to do. So
he's a huge part of what tipped me.
Yeah,
is when they got what is it, Omari in Hampton,
the running back out of North Carolina.
Yeah. Wow.
I hear you. I hear you. You got me there, and
that's a big piece.
100%.
Just like our running back, huge piece.
Yes.
So,
all right. So we go now. This Miami travels to Cleveland to take on the Cleveland Browns. Fish Tank, how you seeing this play now? Of course, look, they got like 10 quarterbacks. We know that. We know that's a lot of side, right? They got Watson, they got Flacco, they got Gabriel, they got Shador Sanders. But again, there's no laughing matter, to be honest with you, when you look at their defense. But again, looking at the Browns, how do you see this playing out?
No, it's kind of like the way we used to take the Jets. You know what I mean? That's kind of the Browns now. It's like the Jets. I can't take them serious.
Okay.
I know they got a great defense, but I just can't take them serious, especially on offense.
Let's see. I want to see something now. I'm thinking about it. What is their... Yeah. Look, their defense is no joke. They got Kenneth Grant's tag team partner and Mason Graham there. But I don't know about their quarterback room. I'm gonna go a win there, Fish Tank. You got that as well, right?
Yes, sir.
I know it's at Cleveland. It's not something to sleep on.
No.
But I don't see it right now. I just don't see it right now.
Here's my thing.
2-1 versus Herbert. Yes, sir.
Here's my thing. We got Jonah, right? I can't say his last name, but
Jonah Save Noah.
Yeah, that guy. And we got Jonah. And by the time we get to Cleveland, that man's going to have a strong hold on whatever it is he's got to do for this team. And, you mentioned their defense, but I think at that time, our offense is going to be able to hold off some of their bigger players on that defensive line.
There you go. There you go. Steve says in response to the Browns quarterback room, what's wrong with good QB competition? Nothing, sir. You're absolutely right. And again, I think people are going to be surprised. I mean, I want to see Shador with some adversity, which he does. He has a chip on his shoulder. But I think people are going to be surprised with Dylan Gabriel. There was a lot of hate on him because of his height and everything else. But I saw a very good quarterback on film. And I think Browns have themselves a secret weapon there. And they're going to have a problem in regards to that, though. Daniel says 72 undefeated. Real fans don't root for their teams to lose. And he responds, I'm not. 5 years straight tells me this. Not blind. Gotcha, brother. Lance says, Lance, what's up? Lance, great to see you in here. He says, I think he says 7 to 8 wins maybe this year. Let's see here. Don't want competition. All right. Flacco's going to start the season. And Monopone says, Dolphins were acquiring a track team when the Eagles were building the trenches. Well, Miami definitely addressed the trenches. They still have some work to do, but they did focus on that. So now we were at the Browns, and now we're talking about the Atlanta Falcons with Mike Penix and, the weapons they've got over there, Fish Tank. Could that be an upset game or a cause to pause game? How do you feel about that one?
Yeah. I got some concerns, but I don't think the Falcons are as complete of a team as Miami when I look at both sides of the ball. Yeah, they got the young, flashy quarterback, but it takes more than one player to win games.
So, I will say this, and then I'll put it, again, you think about their roster, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, they got some weapons on D, Michael Penix, we'll see how he does in his second year.
Mm-hmm.
That game definitely gives me cause to pause. I think it is a game Miami should win. But it is a game that I really have to think about, because they do got good weapons there. So damn, I'm gonna go right now, and I'll probably will change this by the time the season starts, maybe. But I'm gonna go with a win right now for Atlanta, even though I think that's gonna be a tougher game than we might think.
It's going to be tough. Hey, like I said, they have a sweet quarterback that can move that ball around. But when I look at our team, we're solid. We're good.
So, and of course, at that point, we might not be. Tua might be hurt. Dolphins could not, their playbook be trash. The play calling like it was last year. It could be in that point fishing where we're before the game, we're going, yeah, no, this is going to be an L, or this is, it just happens that way. But right now, we're going with everything is same old, same old. So, anywho, we got a prime time. I mean, we got a big one here, and that's at the ball against the Baltimore Ravens fish tank. And I'm just going to say it right now, that's an L. I'm not even going to preference it. I got that as an L. Big old L.
Oh. Bobby, I look at the Ravens team, and they have a lot going on.
Yeah.
But their biggest part of their game is their running back and their running quarterback. That's the biggest part of their game. Their defense isn't what it used to be from, years and years past. It's not as good as it used to be. So I don't think their defense can beat our offense to start with. Now, Miami beefed up the trenches. I love that they beefed up the trenches because that's going to stop Henry, and that's going to stop Lamar Jackson from running all over the place. Miami's going to win this one at home.
Oh, okay. Against the Baltimore Ravens. That's awesome.
I just think they match up good against them.
Okay. I got you. So, all right. So, all right. So Hank and I finally break free. We were going game for game here, Hank. We were both on the same page. Now we finally broke apart. You've gone win, I've gone loss here. So I'm going to let you go with this next one. Buffalo Bills. What do you got?
Buffalo Bills. Like I said earlier, they've got our number. Until we could show that we can get pressure on Josh Allen and stop him from running all over us, it's a loss. It's a loss.
All right. So it's a loss. I said it before. Until they can do it, until they can show me, I'm not going to say we're going to beat them, the Bills. So I got a loss for Miami as well in that game. So we're back on the same track. Now This is the you see that as a win? All right. Sorry. My son is here. He's come in and he's reacting to what we're saying. He sees the Buffalo game as a win. He's a child. He doesn't know better. He hasn't dealt with the pain as much as we. Okay. Anyway, so now we go travel to Madrid, Spain. It's a 9:30 game in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Commanders versus the Dolphins fish tank. How do you see that playing out?
I see us losing.
All right.
I see us losing. And the Washington Commanders have really turned their team around compared to what they used to have. And I think Miami coming off those last two games are just going to be beat to snot. And they're going to have a hard time beating Washington because of that.
Yeah. You know, it's supposed to be a home game. It really is not a home game. It's an away game. Again,
Boy, is it ever all the way in Spain?
And Dan Quinn, Jaden Daniels, they've gotten so much better. And it just seems like one of those games where we're up in the morning, we all wake up and we're all watching this game and praying for the best, but then we quickly realize it's the worst. Not saying, again, this is early predictions, guys. I know, we're going to hold you to it. Receipts. This is way too early because we're going to, this could be updated before the season, depending on what Miami can do to address their cornerback room and all this whatnot. But right now, I'm with Hank. I see this as a loss, which will put Miami into the bye. And for me, right now, at this point in time, in this scenario, Miami would be 6-5 at the bye week. And Fish Tank Hank's scenario, they would be 7-4. 7-4 obviously would be a really good situation for Miami because, it's like, hey, it's a good, they could, could they run this table at this point or try to do something?
Hey, Bobby, I hate to tell you this, but this is the frickin' Miami Dolphins.
I know.
And we know what happens after the bye.
I know.
And in November and December.
I know.
And we're about to cover those games.
Expect disappointment is what Fish Tank's saying,
So,
I think. No,
I might have 7-4 now, but
that is typical Dolphins season, right? We're like, oh my God, we're 7-8-4, we're 8-4, we're 7-4, we're doing great. Boom.
I'm just looking at this season. I'm like, man, it's going to be tough.
Hold on. What?
Uh-oh, Bobby's muted. There's serious family business going on now.
All right. Say it. Say it.
I think the Dolphins are going 11-0 for this season.
To start the first half of the season. That's what he's saying.
All right.
He's looking at the schedule and he sees 11 wins. So that's my son, guys. It's all right. He's good. I love you, baby. It's all right.
I hope they do.
We hope you're right, son. We appreciate
I hope he's right.
See, from your lips to God's ears, brother. It's my baby boy. So anyway, moving on. So Tristan has 11-0, 11 straight wins for Miami at the bye. Fish Tank has 7-4. I have 6-5. We all hope you're right. Yes, Tristan. Cap says he hopes you're right. So going on now, we got the New Orleans Saints, who Derek Carr retired before the start of the season. And so I'm going to just say here, I think Miami gets back on a winning track here. I think they pull out a win here in Miami against the Saints.
I agree.
And now we got we're in New York this time, taking on the Jets. Fish Tank, what do you got?
That's a loss.
Oh, you got a loss against the Jets in New York.
Yep.
All right. So
I just, that's by that point in time, Jets offense and defense should be running pretty smooth, and they have a good amount of talent. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's the same old Jets because they're not.
I will say, I think, I agree on the cause to pause. I get it. It's a division rival. It's in New York. It's not Aaron Rodgers. It's Justin Fields. Aaron Glenn is there. I agree with the weapons. I get it. They could surprise the team. I don't know. Did they ever get a rookie quarterback? I'm not remembering right now. But it is Justin Fields at this point in time. I'm going to say, just because it's the Jets, it's a win. That's a win. I'm going to go with a win here. So I think Fish Tank and I now caught up. So now we got the Pittsburgh Steelers at Pittsburgh on primetime. A game most people say we should win because of their quarterback situation and whatever. Mike Tomlin, that defense. It's Pittsburgh Steelers. It's on primetime.
It's right freezing cold.
It's a cold game. Fair enough, right? So should be. I hate to say this, but right now I'm just going to say it and rip the Band-Aid off, just like Baltimore. It's a loss. I just see it as a loss at this point in time. It's a loss right now.
Hey,
Daniel says I can see 11-6. There you go, Daniel.
Bobby.
Yeah.
This is a Band-Aid that you put on your calf.
Yeah.
You put it on your calf. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And not only do you rip the damn Band-Aid, you pull half the hair on your leg out with it. That's how painful this one's going to be.
Okay.
And we're going to lose.
All right. All right. So Fish Tank has lost as well at this point in time. I mean, again, it's just what it is. Now you got the Miami Dolphins primetime game again against the Cincinnati Bengals. On offense, they got a lot of money on that. Joe Burrow, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase. What happens with their defense? They did draft Shamar Stewart, but do they trade Hendrickson? Right now, it doesn't look like that he's going to stay with them, but we don't know how that's going to play out. Fish Tank, how do you see the Cincinnati game?
Oh, wow. This is a tough one. This is really tough to decide who's going to win this. I like Miami a lot at home, but boy, the Bengals can be explosive. Wow. This is like a coin tosser, man. I think Miami's either going to be doing really good or really crappy at this point in time. And I have them with 2 losses. This will be a 3rd loss.
Okay.
In a row.
Okay.
They can't keep up with that offense. No way. No way. Not our current secondary. No.
So one of the biggest knocks on Cincinnati is the attention they put on their defense. There's not a lot to, and right now the guy they just drafted is not participating. I don't know if they signed him or not, but he wasn't participating in camp because he was waiting for that extension. So they already have issues there. I think this will be a really which defense plays better against which offense. Because let's say, right, if you have Tua with Tyreek and Waddle, and let's say our offensive line is healthy and still doing good. I mean, again, this offensive line, no one, you could hate on Miami all you want or hate on their offense and Tua all you want. But if you're saying at the offensive line, Tua's going to break or whatever, which again, there's no denying, history shows that he can't stay healthy a lot of time.
Yeah.
But if Jonah Savanea and James Daniels, Aaron Brewer, Jackson, Powell, if they play what they're supposed to look like, the Miami's O-line's pretty decent compared to what Cincinnati looks like. Right. So you got their running back room. So it's basically offense versus offense. It's basically which defense steps up more, which defense is going to be better. And I'm with you, Fish Tank, where there's a giant cause to pause where I'm like, I could see this being a big loss. And you know what I mean? And it sucks because it is prime time. And that, again, it just rubs me the wrong way. When I see prime time, I get nervous.
Not me.
But last time Miami.
Come on, Bobby. Our defense can't keep up with those bullets. There's no way.
Noodle really sucks in prime time. Here's the thing. Again, the team does. The team does. So, oh gosh, man, it's going to be so crazy if, depending on who's at quarterback.
See, you're like me. I was right on the line. I couldn't decide. However, Bobby, just based on our current secondary and their offense, I just can't see how our corners can keep up with Higgins and Chase. No.
All right. Fair enough. At this point in time, I'm going to roll with the Bengals on this one. I think that's fair enough. Prime time, and at this point in the season, I don't know. I could see Miami pulling this out, but I just don't feel comfortable enough to do it. And I'm not going to do it for the sake of doing it. So I can feel better or our Dolphins feel better. Anyway, so now we go on to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Mhm.
This is in Miami. This is during the
Yep.
day. And Tampa's no joke either. Tampa with Baker
No.
Mayfield and crew. I mean, they've gotten a lot better too. This is going to be huge. But I think it's gonna be a game now. Depending again, it's all depends on health. But I'm just looking at both teams as it is right now.
Mhm.
I'm gonna roll with Miami on this one. I'm not sleeping on Baker Mayfield. I'm not sleeping on their receiving core. I'm not sleeping on them at all. I think, and they're a damn good football team. But I could see Miami pulling this out, and I'm gonna roll with Miami Fish Tank.
I'm with you, Bobby. I think Miami has more talent across the board than Tampa Bay does. It's not a huge leap that Miami um, has on them. I just think they edge them out. So,
All right. So now Fish Tank, we're in New England for the final game.
yep.
Patriots taking on Miami going to New England to take on the Patriots. You
Oh,
had
yeah.
a win at the start. Where do you see this finishing off?
Oh yeah, this is a big fat L. Big fat L. Vrabel and gang will have that team running at this point in time in the game in the season, and going up there in that weather. I know there's going to be weather. They have to go up there. That's a challenge. But with what New England's done, wow. And I just think that by the time they're hitting there, they might be on their stride. To be honest with you, they could be hitting a stride at that point in time. They could definitely dominate us up there. I have it as a loss.
All right, so I'm with you because I did say this at the start. I gave a spoiler. Again, I said I could see Miami splitting the series with the Patriots this season as we get closer to the season, and we're still some time away. The preseason starts in August, and the season starts in September. It is May right now, so right now, Fish Tank and I have the schedule as it is, or our records predictions. Fish Tank is 9-8. Both of us
Both
sit
of us.
at both of us at 9-8. We came different ways. We have it playing out different ways, but we wrap it up at 9-8.
I just want to point out, Bobby,
Yeah,
that when we talked about this, those 8 losses, for the most part, you and I both said it depends on what our defense is doing.
yeah.
Just saying, if that D line is as good as
And
I'm hoping it is,
and
woo,
I'm gonna say too, because I know Elwood had a great point earlier in the show. If I could find it, and I appreciate everyone who's watching right now and discussing and participating. We appreciate you guys all tuning in.
absolutely.
And everyone has their opinions and should be respected. And but let me see what Elwood had some earlier, and I hope I don't miss it. Okay. There it is. So Elwood says we went 8-9 with Liam Eichenberg and Robert Jones at guard, I assume. Oh, excuse me. Liam Eichenberg at guard. Jones and Tua were hurt. Older defensive linemen. Linebackers, they cut Fuller. Fuller was out. Ramsey was average. Safety's playing poorly, and Bailey will be a lot better. So I'm assuming Elwood, if you're still in the comments, you could tell me where you think the team is at this point in time, how you see it kind of playing out. I know Daniel has 11 wins, which is fair. I get it, but if you think about it, we don't know how this offensive line is how it's going to look by the start of the season. We know James Daniels, what he can do when healthy. We'll see how he looks better coming off an injury. How I love Jonas Savaiinaea. I believe he was my top offensive lineman coming out of the draft, but again, rookie question mark. Patrick Paul, how's he going to play? So in spite of what we believe, the offensive line is still a question mark. Our secondary is a giant one because Fuller's out. Ramsey was average. Ramsey's not going to be here. Fuller's not playing. We're going to have Cam Smith, who hasn't done anything in 2 years. We're going to have a rookie who we're not sure about. Our safeties, as I think there's upside there, especially with Malifonwu from Detroit, but they can't stay healthy either. So it's still, you would think like, hey man, we're going to be better than 8-9. Well, we did go better than 8-9. We're not a 1 win over 8-9. We're 9-8. But again, Tua hurt. A lot of time most of the time he's hurt. So that's why I think I think people think, it's not a knock on Miami in regards of, oh, you're not real Dolphin fans. No, it's more of what you got to go with what you've seen and what what Miami has done. And a lot of the problems that you've brought up in that comment there earlier, which is fair, but it still stands as of right now. It still stands. That is still that still hovers around Miami in a different. You got to just switch out the names or play around with a little bit, and it's still the same kind of situation with the Dolphins, where it's like, yes, man, there is talent on this team that I believe in, that I love, and I think that could put us in that 11-win column that Daniel has us in. I think Miami has the potential to do that. But based off what we've seen the last couple of seasons, how they finish out, what McDaniel has done as a play caller last year, to Tyreek's situation, Tua's situation, the secondary, it leaves a lot to be desired. And that's why, again, when you look at these other teams, until Miami can do it, I guess Hank and I, the way to say it, and I hate to say it, but just have to be realistic with expectations. And at this, again, Miami could come around and they could sign Rasul Douglas or sign another corner, and hey, man, they get an offer, and you go, damn, all right, hey, wait, no, I'm feeling pretty after preseason. You go, damn, man, I'm really loving what I'm seeing out of these guys. You know what? We go back and we look at the schedule again. Let's go ahead, Hank. Do we stay at 9-8? We look at it. Maybe we do. We won't go off game. Oh, Hank, last time you had an L. Where do you have this? Oh, I'm gonna have a win now. No, we're gonna go fresh thing, and then we'll revisit going, hey, Hank, that one you had an L, man. Now you have it as a win. We'll go off that. But right now, Hank and I both have 9-8 on the season. But great points by Elwood earlier. So let me just come back down here and see what we got. Undefeated has 7-10.
Well,
Elwood, here we go.
In order for us to actually do anything, Bobby, we have to be winning in our own division. And we're not. We're not. We're not. You look at the schedule, and in my opinion, we're 50-50. We splitting with the Jets and New England. The Buffalo Bills have us beat. That means we're losing in our own division right now.
Yeah.
You have to win your division. If you plan on doing anything in the NFL, you've got to get that division lead. And I don't see us getting it again. I think we're going to fall short. And that's why I see us going 9-8. And with our secondary, without really knowing how much force we now have on that with those new defensive tackles, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, Bobby. It's going to be an uphill climb for our defense. But when I look at our most important games over the past with our secondary didn't show up.
Yeah.
Our secondary was not existent on the games when we needed them. They weren't there. And it was specifically our secondary that got torched with the good cornerbacks.
Yeah.
So now I sit there and look at our defensive coordinator and I go, we got a little different approach than we used to have. And they box out and use safeties a little more. And I like that. I like that. If that ball's coming in short, the safety can get it. And I love it. So is the play calling going to be enough? And do our current corners have enough talent? Look, these are NFL players. They all have talent or they wouldn't be on that field. Now, we look and say, well, who's our blue chip cornerback? You need at least one to take on the number one wide receiver. We don't have that. We don't have that. That's gone. So
I got you.
There's a lot of questionable games because of that and because I don't know what the defensive line's going to do.
Yeah. Steve Malloy of Real Talk Fins Talk here on FTSN says he has 8-9 on the season, which means our rookies and free agents panned out and we are on the right track. Elwood says we lose to Buffalo, Baltimore, Washington, and Pittsburgh and New England because we are resting players. 12-5. I'm a lover, not a hater. He says we are not the only. Let me get that back here. Elwood continuing. We are not the only team waiting for June 1st. Players will be available. Relax. Reaver makes lemonade. Show me.
That he does.
And the thing is, here's the problem with June 1st, right? We're not the only team, 100%. My only thing is that there is like, again, we trade away Jaylen Ramsey. Now you have a giant hole in the secondary. We'll see who we sign there. There's no player that's going to match up to Jaylen Ramsey at that point in time, unless somebody's cut or traded as well. Miami takes advantage of that, which would be awesome, and that would be helping huge, Are there any needle movers at that point in time? That's the point. You might be able to fill up a gap, but are you filling up the entire hole there that's leaving? Because even before Ramsey was going to get traded, corner was a problem for me, the secondary. So that's the thing. Nobody is an all-pro until they play. You got it. Undefeated. If Tyreek leaves, forget it. Like last year, every pass will be 10 yards behind the line. With Tyreek, it was 10 yards behind the line. I'm not worried about Tyreek. I'm more worried about Jaylen Ramsey leaving, which it will happen over Tyreek. I think Miami's offense is what it is right now. But hopefully the running game can choke up some corners, choke up some defensive backs for Miami, and they're not playing two-man deep and doing all that, which will allow Ramsey and Tyreek to eat. And again, do not sleep on Nick Westbrook, the guy we got out of Tennessee. Miami's receiving room, I feel really good with. That's why, like, if Tyreek was to leave tomorrow, as much as that's a huge hit because it is Tyreek Hill, and you're better with than without.
Yeah,
I feel better with Jaylen Ramsey than I would feel better about our receiver room than I would feel about our corner room losing one of those guys. The corner room really scares me. I think Jaylen Waddle could step up. I think people forgot how good Jaylen Waddle can be, and I think he's taken a big back seat to Tyreek. I feel people now say, "Oh, dude, he's a number 2 receiver." No, he's not. He could be a number 1, and I believe Jaylen Waddle would step up if given that opportunity. But I think the secondary is a huge concern because I haven't seen anything out of Cam Smith. Elwood would respect. I like Anthony Weaver. You say he makes lemonade. Well, where was that lemonade with that lemon out of lemonade? Where was that lemonade with Cam Smith?
Yeah,
none. There's no difference between Vic Fangio and Anthony Weaver with Cam Smith. So we'll see. We'll see. Press and blitz forces turnovers. From your lips to God's ears, brother. And again, I think Kenneth Grant and Zach Sealer and Zeke Biggers and Jordan Phillips. I'm very excited about the upside of our D line and talk about pass rush. I think somebody said something about our pass rush earlier. I have no concerns with our pass rush with Chop Robinson and Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb and with those guys in the center. I feel really good about our pass rush. That is not a question mark for me. It is what it is. That is awesome. Fair enough, Elwood. I love it. I love it.
Is it tomato?
I thought I had one on Elwood. I was like, he makes lemonade. Well, what happened with Cam Smith the lemon? He didn't come like, well, you got it, Bobby. He's not a lemon. He's a tomato. Oh, damn, there you go. My bad. You know what, man? I think you guys are great, man. This is awesome. And Elwood, that was fire, man. That was epic. Thank you for that comeback. I love it, my man. Steve, great point, Bobby. Appreciate you, my brother. Anyway, man, this has been a fun show. A lot of fun and more time than I thought it would take, but that's okay. When you're having fun, the time just switches on by. Let me just say, this is obviously not the end of the day for me in terms of content. Usually Saturdays is soft and Bruce is easy. Hopefully, I guess Elwood, what's the next thing to say, my brother? If can he turn Cam Smith from a tomato to tomato soup, or Cam Smith from tomato to ketchup? Let's see.
Hey, how about a nice red sauce, Italian red sauce? That would be good.
Yeah. Oh man, but
pray go.
Cat, in for me, the 2 games that I have eyed right now, and I don't know if it's been released yet if they have a have it been released yet? Fishing, maybe because but the what's that called? Fan club weekend. Have they announced that yet? Do we know what game that is?
I do not know yet.
Okay.
I have no idea.
So
But I do
yeah,
have some good news, Bobby.
yes, sir.
You know, they say that nobody knows what the new uniforms look like, the black ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to an exclusive party the other day.
Yeah.
Let's just say I had a talk with somebody about the new uniforms.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they said they ain't telling me shit. I was like, come on. They were like, it's
Can't say
not.
nothing.
It'll be released.
All right. Well, that's all we need. That's all we need.
So I just wanted you to know I did try.
Okay. Yeah. He got me too, Cap. He got me too. You know. So who knew? Who knew that at the end of Finn's talk today you get some blue balls? So there you go. We all got excited, and now so, throw it out and it gets rotten. So yeah, that's right. That's
Put
right.
it in the
Elwood's
sun.
on a roll, man. Damn. Oh man. Why would you want a black on uniforms in Florida of all places? It'd be a night game, Lance. Not during the
Or it
day.
would be in a cold area they'd wear them
They would be against the New York Jets, which I
at
believe is
night
Monday Night Football.
or winter.
Monday Night Football. So, so that's what I heard. I heard it's against the New York Jets revealed. So that'd be week 4. I'll tell you what, man. I'd buy a black jersey all day. I love them.
Hey,
Elwood's on a roll, man.
Let me tell you something, Bobby.
Yeah.
It's a wrap. It's party time.
Yeah.
I got to go out, and let me tell you, I started this new club because I'm in a 55 plus community now. Did I tell you that?
No, I knew you're in a new community.
Yeah, I'm really old. So now I'm in a 55 plus community with my wife. And I started to put together this team.
Oh.
It's called the 60 and over Olympic team. And they got to do things like wheelchair push, cane jump, diaper release. And, I've been talking to the ladies up and down the block, and hell yeah, they said they're down.
You got me a diaper release. Cane jump. Cane jump, and then you go diaper release. God dang.
Hey, I just have to realize my abilities nowadays now that I'm in the 55 and over club.
I got you, brother. It's all good. Oh, God.
Hey, but you know what I told Kelly?
What?
I said the ones with the canes and wheelchairs, they can't get away from me fast enough now. I can catch them.
That's right. Unless they go downhill, the wheelchair can go downhill.
I'm screwed if they go downhill.
Yeah, you're screwed. Oh my gosh. All right. So everyone tuning in, we appreciate you guys all watching. Really, we do. And man, this is so much fun. We've had a lot of fun today. I will be back on at 5 p.m. Eastern time for a special No Holds Barred Wrestling podcast episode. We're gonna turn back the clock and react. We'll kind of revisit WCW Halloween Havoc 98, which was one of my favorite pay-per-views growing up, with Hogan versus the Warrior and those guys. So if you guys want to turn back the clock, if you like wrestling, love wrestling, and we just want to have fun, we continue the fun. It'll be me and Josh Kimmel. We'll have a special guest on there. But if you guys want to continue having fun, come join us at 5 p.m. Eastern time. If you're new to the channel, if this is your first time, thank you for joining us and watching the show. Fish Tank and I here every Saturday, most of the time, depending on what life is happening. But most of the time, we will be on as it gets closer to the season a lot more often. But like and subscribe. Steve, very quick. I just want to say, Steve, are you talking about the wrestling show or are you talking about now? Oh, you're talking about the Olympics. You want that old man Olympics. I got you. Okay.
You know what it is? He's trying to go after my women.
He's trying to, he heard diaper. He
He's already trying to double hit. Hey, these are my ladies.
Oh, man. But anyway, guys, we appreciate you all watching. If you're new, hit that like and subscribe button. If you love wrestling, WCW Halloween Havoc 98, we're revisiting that one. It'll be me, Josh Kimmel, and Evan Seether of Fantasy Now Plus. It's going to be a fun episode. I got my Halloween Havoc t-shirt. I'm ready to talk about it. That's the one and only. Yes, Fish Tank.
You know what?
Yes, sir.
Steve's a pool guy. You know, Steve is quite the swimmer.
Really?
So, and my ladies with the diapers, they got better floatability.
Oh.
So when Steve comes around, he's going to have a task because they float like there's nobody's business and they just glide across the water.
This is so bad. If we're not canceled by next week, we'll be back on here. So well, maybe talking Jaylen Ramsey. But anyway, that's the one and only Fish Tank Hank. He has a lot of things to do, so we're going to let him wrap it up. But that's Fish Tank Hank. I'm Bobby Finstock. Appreciate you all tuning in. Like and subscribe. And most importantly, Dolphin fans,
Fins up.